What's up, everybody? It's your favorite Guardian's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at Maketoys Guardia. And here's the robot modes, and I think they look great together. You know, I think that Groove is still the odd man out. You know, he still looks like the poor kid at the party, but other than that, I think that they look like a really good cohesive set. Like it's the stylizations. Do you know what I mean? It's the little accents like here on his shoulders on Streetwise and up. You know, all these angles there, and then it has carries through. Like, it's little stuff like that that gives the set a very cohesive look, and I think they look good together in robot mode. And they look cohesive. Ambo looks a little small. You know, that's kind of a bummer. But this is a hard set to do scale-wise. This and the Combaticons, I feel like, are the hardest ones to kind of pull off. But all in all, not bad. Not a bad effort at all. I will say, like, just having to get them all into vehicle mode again, like, ugh, like, some of these are such a chore. You know, that's why I had to say that he was a breath of fresh air, because all his stuff, well, I mean, we have some issues with him transformation-wise that we're getting ready to get into, but robot to vehicle, vehicle to robot, this guy is an absolute treat comparison to the other four, which are brutal. But they look good. Oh, and I almost forgot. I'm going to keep saying it until somebody starts listening to me. You have a set like this where it's feasible that people will display them in vehicle mode, like it's inside the realm of possibility, like a team, and you have an aerial unit and a bunch of ground units. Stand. You should provide a stand for the aerial unit. I'm going to keep it. This isn't the first time I've had to say it. I said it about the Combaticon set. I said it about the TFC set like this. It's just, I'm going to keep saying it until somebody listens. If I keep projecting it into the universe, eventually somebody will listen.
Three chicks, same time. Namaste. Should work any day now.
For this guy, he's all broken down. No super robot mode or anything like that. Move this till it locks into there, and then move the whole piece down, and that'll tab in. You just gotta add some pressure. Same on this side. Up, locked in, ratchet down. Open up your back calf flaps. Easy for me to say. Slide in until it clicks, close up, slide in, oh, make sure it's open, clicks, close it up. Those are your pelvis pieces, so rotate your legs so that they sit accordingly, and then rotate the waist. Open up your chest piece, push your head down. That's that sliding mechanism. And then close back up. Come around to the back and open these pieces up. Bring them around. And tab them together. Hotspot shoulders notoriously eat me up. Make sure the tires are sitting at 90 degrees, like right behind the wheel well. You can slide the bumper in on a sliding bar, which you know is not my favorite thing in the world. Undo this connection here. I know that's confusing, it's hard to see, I get it, but it's this piece here. And yeah, fold these pieces in as well. Make sure your wheels are at 90. Alright. And then make sure that your torso is up as far as it can go. And bring this bit down. And that should lock in pretty much right underneath that bar. After that, you can bring this piece down, and that diagonal piece should sit underneath the wheel. This should plug in there, and that piece should plug into the underside of the blue piece. Let me see if I can't show you why I'm doing it. Alright, so that's underneath the wheel. that's in the red piece, and then this here plugs into the blue piece, and then this red piece is also plugged in there to the shoulder. All right, here we are again. Down this way. Tension underneath the red bar. That's plugged in there. Rotate this piece down. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, let's deal with the ladder. Separate it there. Take the ladder off. Bring this up. Wait, this up. This one to the top. Second one goes down, latches in there. Third one comes back up and holds tension on there. And then just keep that out of the way for now because we got to deal with these arms. Before you get everything tabbed in too securely, you might as well try to get these ratchets up. Alright, this is the part that eats me up. Untab your forearm bit of business. Rotate the arm so you can see the mushroom cap. And then you want to have that peg exposed. And then just manipulate this panel down here so that you can plug in. I just plugged in this to the hood or the roof of the cab, and then rotate this, and then this piece plugs into there, and that piece plugs into there. And it ain't easy. Open it up. Make sure you can see the mushroom cap, and the joint should be exposed. Now you want to rotate it so that this is sitting and that pegs into there. Alright. Now make sure that all this other stuff is all lined up. Plug in the top piece and the shoulder piece the best you can. This is the most challenging part. Do the blue piece first because it's just a thinner piece of plastic. Take your feet, make sure that the ball, where you have the more range, is towards the inside of the foot. Slide that up in there till it's good. Same on the other side. Good. Your chest piece, have it oriented as such. Slide that up in there, and then these clip on to there. And then the bottom part there tabs into the chest piece as well. You kind of wish it would sit a little lower, to be honest with you. And then you can orient your ladder back in. It does stick out a little far, but I feel like if you have it the other way, I mean, it doesn't change how far it sticks out, but I feel like that is more, I don't know, it's more of an eyesore. For this guy, you want to undo the doors and bring them down, and then you got to get these feet out, which isn't a big deal, but you know, at this point you're kind of wanting to do it with the least amount of you know, work, because you're trying to just kind of get this done. So that's my fault. So you want to take these down and do it like you're transforming them to robot. With flipping these lights. And then get it back together. I think you want the toes. No, you want the toes towards the roof. I was right. Alright. I don't even think you need to have this up. I think you can have the car flat, but we'll look here in a second. And that's basically it. Keep these out. But yeah. So then you take Streetwise, make sure the doors are open. You want to take this piece here, slide it down in there. And then tab in the doors into these side ports here. And that's one done. This one, unfortunately, you kind of have to almost undo everything. Just set this piece to the side for now. And I got this thing in there so good, I don't even know if I'm going to get it down. Let's see, open up these arms maybe. I gotta get this clip out. There. Alright. And then you also want to bring these down, split the legs, and these need to come down to a 90-degree angle, I believe. You also, while you're here, just go ahead and open this, flip that all the way through, and then capture the top bit of it as you close it back up so that you have this little piece here. That's one of your connector points. Also, you can open up these things here. On the back of the figure, move this stuff up as high as you can, turn the wheel sideways, get this piece, plug it back in to the bottom of the figure like where you have it on the back when he's in robot mode. Remember that this piece here is on a slider, so get this the best that you can. Keep the arm elbow locked how you have it for bike mode, and then bring it around and tab both sides into the back plate by moving the shoulder, which will secure the arms, and clean up fairly nicely. Make sure that the palms of the hands are facing the back of the figure. Make sure that these crossbars here stay pegged into the side pegs there, that your little pointy bits are facing outwards. Bring the wheel down and the cab up, and now that should be this guy pretty much ready to go for leg mode. And just looking at it, I had this mistaken. This is supposed to be on the outside, so just rotate. Everything else about the arms is right, it's just that these sit on the outside. And once again, it's this piece here that slides into there. You can bend the knee to get you the space to do it. And as far as how this cleans up, I'll have to take a look at it and talk you through it. But this piece can then rotate down, and that allows it to stand. This is not right. I gotta figure out what's going on here. I had the legs down at 90 degrees because that's how the instructions look, but if you move them up close, you can then get that. There's a little triangle right in this little dark gray part that should plug in to there. And it does. I'll do it on this side too. Yeah, that's much more secure and looks a lot better. First thing you want to do is remove this. This has been breaking on people, so the last thing you want to do is have an issue this close to the end game. For the tail, move these pieces out to the side so that you can move this, and you can pretty much just keep this up. Bring these pieces out, open the feet up, and they just sit up on top. And can tab back into one another, which keeps this in place. Underneath, pull the arms out. They're tabbed into 100 different places, if you remember, it seems like, so just take your time. And then you can even open this up just to give yourself a little wiggle room. You're going to want to take the back piece off as well. You can fold this up just to give yourself some room, and then expand the torso, which then exposes your combiner port. Collapse this piece onto the top there, and then move the shoulders around 180 degrees on both sides, and then you can close them back up and collapse the arms on top. Take this piece from Hotspot, remove the inside piece, which is the hand, split the fingers, tab them back into one another, and then you want to orient this thumb like that, and you have a hand ready. So then you take your blades, you take this, open that up, this slides in there, wraps back around, and grabs a hold of it, which is something I've never seen before, and I have to admit it's pretty clever. That is a very secure connection and pretty impressive. Open up these panels here, get the arms out, expand. For the front part of the vehicle, just rotate this all the way forward. Bring your arm rotation, they are down here, and just bring them up, close it up, and then you want to have that slot there go into that peg. So close it up, bring the arm down as far as it will go. You can get this, if you untab this, you can get it out of your way. There. There. That's nice and pretty. Same on there. And then bring this back up, bring the front cab back up, clean up the front cab, and then lay that down on top. Lastly, take your hand and slide it up in through the slot just like a groove, clip it in, and you're good to go. I should also note while I'm here, it's very hard to unlock it, which is a good thing. However, it is easy if you just take this open, and then split the legs, and that will give you access to the clip to unclip it. Otherwise, you're going to put stress on some thin plastic. So that's the way they advise you to do it, and it's also the best way to do it. There. And the final arm. And he's done. Let me get him cleaned up. I'm going to add in the blades on them and stuff, and we'll take a look. Alright, let me show you the guns real quick. You take this piece and these, make sure that the handles are up, and they tab on, they tab onto the side here. Keep in mind that the barrel of your first gun of the handle is pointing backward. Like that. Take this, slide that in, and that's one gun. Can he hold it? The connections are a bit different than we're used to. We got a tab and a slot. Tab and a slot. Let's get the thumb sorted. No problem. For the second one, same thing. For the base, and then the barrel is just a bit different. Make sure that the flush piece is on top. Slide in. And can he hold it? I don't see why he wouldn't. No problem. And there you have it. Head is on a hinge swivel. Or is it? Is it a ball? No, it's a ball joint. Huh, I thought it was a hinge swivel. It's a ball joint. Nonetheless, good up, great down, which I think is the most important for a bot of this size. And the swivel is intact. Shoulders, as you can see, it's a pretty great range of motion. So you have the one hinge inside the arm. You have the ratchet as well. This stuff does come on tab. We're going to talk about that. Bicep swivel at the top and a forearm swivel kind of at the bottom. And then a double jointed elbow. Mine, I don't have mine set up the best way at the moment, but so you can get his arm all the way across there, no problem. And wrist swivel, fingers, ball jointed thumb with a single hinge at the first knuckle there. Afterwards, ball jointed base knuckles all here, and then one hinge afterwards as well. So that's all fine. I think I prefer the hinges for a figure this size, but it's not a big deal. Moving down, waist swivel, ratcheted, that's fine. Oh, phone call. We have ratcheted universal hips. Let's see how we do there. Move these flaps. Pretty good. And look how that leg is holding. It is solid. I will definitely give it that. And back, no problem. Out to the side, no problem. That one, huh, it's holding all right. Doesn't take much for it to go, but it holds all right. This one's much better, I think. Yeah, that one ain't going anywhere. I mean, it just goes notch by notch, but not bad. Thigh swivel, ratcheted at the top, so that's good. And that's on both sides. Knee, ratcheted, double jointed. Let's get this out of the way. Except not. Oh yeah, there it is. So there's a soft ratchet here, hard ratchet there. Great range of motion. It's actually, the ratchet is strong enough where it actually makes the plug-in difficult to stay in. Same on the other side. Ankles on a ball joint, so you get an ankle tilt. Not much up on this one or this one, but you get a good tilt down. And rocker is pretty much completely intact. So articulation-wise, it's good, and it's probably the most solid. Like, this just feels like it probably plays most like an action figure of any combiner I've ever messed with. Let's run through some size comparisons. There he is with Menasor to give you an idea of other kind of combiners from the same line and how they sort of work together. There he is with Utopia, so not terrible. There he is with TFC's Prometheus, and it's very interesting, the two of them together. And there they are with the G1, and there he is with Combiner Wars Defensor as well. Let's talk about that. This is what it's going to come down to for a lot of people, is this decision. And I just, like, for me, it's a pretty obvious one between these two. I think that between this one and TFC, I think that people that were going to choose between TFC and Maketoys have kind of already made their decision, and you know, they're either happy or unhappy with that decision and can go from there. I knew I was going to get both. I'm a sucker for teams. I'm a sucker for teamwork. What? But I think that this is going to kind of be what it comes down to most collectors, whether or not they're going to take a chance on a third-party combiner or they're going to go for the Combiner Wars. And there's a good part of me that just wants to say, look at them. But I know that some people don't see it how I see it. So let's just talk, all right? If you get this, and let's say you add groove to it, and let's say you add the little groove to it, I think groove just went up on pre-order recently at BBTS for 25 bucks. Now I know that's over retail, but let's just say 20 bucks to be fair. Plus the $10 legend, you're looking at about 110 to 130 bucks for this retail. Maybe more, because I think deluxes have just gone up at Toys R Us recently. But let's say 100. Let's tell you what. Let's say 125. The limbs here are about 60 bucks, I think, and then the core one is 135. So let's say 400. So there's a significant price difference, right? And there's a significant difference in quality. There's a significant difference in materials. There's a significant difference in paint. There's a significant difference in articulation. There's a significant difference in sculpt, mold, etc. For me, like, this would never be an option. Like, this is like a fun option to kind of mess around with, and I'm a sucker for emergency vehicles, so that's cool. But it's one of the things that really bothers me about Combiner Wars, I mean the feet for one, but is the proportions, right? As my buddy Deluxe says, you rang. Like, it's just the proportions are out of control here. The proportions here are fantastic, and let alone all those other things I talked about. So I personally feel like this is not a competition. I do feel like the TFC one is a competition. I'd be willing to go back and forth with somebody on a conversation about, which one is better. I think it would come down to a person's collection and ultimately what ended up suiting that collection best. And then another conversation would be the MMC one that's coming in. But that's a separate conversation. But between this and this, I personally don't feel like it's worth a discussion. Like, to me, it's almost like, I guess that's a bit ironic because I'm discussing it right now, but let me try to put it in perspective the best I can. I feel like I overpaid here. Now, that's not to say that this guy is perfect, because he's not, okay? And one of the things I wanted to mention is that these supposedly plug into the ladder piece, but then it has to be off-center. That wouldn't be an option for me. I need him to be symmetrical. That's a OCD thing with me. But regardless, let's talk about the problems. My biggest complaint of all of this is that, all right, so he's really fun to manipulate because he lends himself to movement very well. However, it's hard to get all this stuff that there's, we went through it. There's tons of little tabs and slots and all the pegs and everything else that has to come into. It's hard to manipulate him and get all of that to stick together in this midsection. Another one of my complaints is there's a lot of arms that default up in funky angles, like these here and those over there, which are already popped out. That becomes kind of bothersome when you're trying to manipulate it as well. Like, a lot of the slots and tabs and stuff you kind of wish were longer, that like they secured more. This, oddly enough, is sticking together fairly well, which you would think it would not. Once again, not to beat a dead horse, but it's kind of a shame when you're paying a higher dollar for a figure that they're using similar engineering. I've said this before with Unique Toys. I've said this before with others, I think. But the engineering here and here is very similar, and you kind of feel like, I kind of want each toy to be its own individual thing when you're paying a higher dollar. You rang. But I must say the proportions are outstanding. The articulation is outstanding. The joints are picture perfect. The ratchet on his right leg at the hip could be a little tighter, but it's still not hateful. It is the best joints I have felt on a combiner to date. The connections are all solid as a rock. Every ratchet holds the weight appropriately. At the same time, it's not a very heavy piece, so take that in mind as well, but it does correlate well to the joints. The colors are all spot on. The blue is right, the whites, the reds, etc. Everything matches. Everything is reminiscent as you see it in your head from your childhood. The aesthetic is a little bit stylized, but I still think it's pretty close to G1. There's plenty of frustration on this thing in terms of to get it here, with especially with the limb bots, not so much with Hotspot. But once you get it here, it's pretty solid. You're not going to have a need to worry too much once it's all pegged in. Everything is really well thought out. There's a lot of new interesting things here. I love the connections with the wrists, for instance. I love the connections with the legs. Like, it's very parts forming, and I know that's a problem for some people, but if every combiner was as solid as this, you would never hear me complain about the parts forming aspect of it. Not that I complain about parts forming anyway, but if I were to, this would definitely change my mind. I think that this is the definitive Defensor for a Chug collection. I will also go on record and say I don't think it's big enough to work with your Masterpieces. You know, like we have this discussion with combiners and Masterpieces and kind of being able to, you know, squint your eyes, tilt your head a bit and be able to make something that maybe isn't quite properly Masterpiece scaled acceptable for a Masterpiece collection. This is not that. This is definitely too small for a Masterpiece shelf, but it is a beautiful piece, and I think it is, for the Chug scale, the best Defensor on the market, and probably the best Defensor we'll ever get for that scale, because I don't see too many more coming. Unless you're a strictly Masterpiece collector, I can't tell you any reason why I wouldn't recommend this. It's really well done. It's really well thought out. Wish some of the connections for the individual panels, for the individual bots, were a little bit more secure. Wish some of the panels, especially around the torso of Hotspot in combined mode, were a little bit more secure. And I wish Groove cleaned up a bit better. And those are the only criticisms I have of this thing. Otherwise, it's a beautiful piece, and I highly recommend it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care. Mr. Russman?
Yes.
You're live during a review.
Oh, sweet. It's going to be a skit now.